Hi crafters, it's Kathy here coming to you from Scrap and Bean. I'm just going to pop on here really quick to show you guys this Winter Feelings card pack. I know I did a quick flip through on Facebook a couple of weeks ago and we sold right out, so I have brought some more in. So if you want to see the detailed flip through, you can always go back to the old Facebook from a couple weeks ago. So this is basically what it is. There's a real fast. But what I wanted to point out to you on here, I've actually made some cards from this, so I really enjoyed it. On each page, turn it the right way up for you, there's a little diagram here that shows you their idea of how to make a card front using the pieces that are on the page. And every page does that, so it makes it super easy. Here's an example of a card front using all of the pieces here. So it really makes for fast cards, and this is all winter, some Christmas, and even some New Year cards. So I'm going to show you on here what it's like to work with it. You have these sheets, and I'm just going to tear a sheet right out of the book. Actually, both of these sheets. I should be a little bit gentle because it is cardstock. I don't want to totally destroy it. So on this one, it happens to be, here's the diagram of what you can make and the pieces. And there's way more pieces in this pad than what you will actually use if you're just following their diagram there. So you just punch these out. It actually reminds me of doing paper dolls when I was a kid, which I actually loved doing paper dolls. So this is very much like that. So you punch out, there's kind of your base for this one, and you have all these little embellishments, which are also punch outs. So when you punch them out all the way around your piece, all around on the edge, there is these little nibs of paper where they were connected, and now we've got them punched out. So I like to go around with a pair of scissors and just snip those off, or you could use a piece of sanding paper. Or another alternative is if you're like a really aggressive puncher outer and you find that you start tearing things. So there's a tip. This is something that I used to do with my paper dolls to make sure that I didn't wreck any when I was doing it, is put your base sheet down, and especially if you're punching out something fine, then just push it out onto your desktop like that, and it tends to have less possibility of tearing. But actually I have found with doing this pad, and this is my last card in this pad to do, so I've done quite a few cards. I found that, like, I'm pretty aggressive with punching them out, and I still haven't had a problem with them tearing. So they're pretty durable. But the other thing you could do is take your, if you like to use a craft knife, is to take your craft knife and just lightly go around each piece. So you're just cutting off those little nibs. Anyway, so you don't need to see me punching all that out. We'll punch out one piece from here because this one card is actually using both sheets. So then I just take my scissors, and I don't know if you can see on the camera where there's these tiny little nibs. There's one, there's one, here's one. So every once in a while, that's what was holding them in. And I just go in and snip these off. You could also do that with a sander, or even like if you have a little craft sander that goes gentle, because there's not much on there. Or if you have even a soft emery board nail file, that works too. You're just something to take that little nib off. And then the other thing that I like to do is ink my edges, just like I would do with most of my cards, or even a lot of my scrapbook pages. I like inking the edges. Kind of tends to tie it together, gives it a nice finished look. And I don't know if I can chat with you and find all these nibs and cut them off at the same time. So when I go to ink, I'm just going to use whatever you use to ink your edges. This is, I'm going to use walnut stain, and it's well used, but that's walnut stain on there. I like to, my little foam that I put on the back of here, I just store right in there. So I just take it out. If you haven't done that before, this is a very cool way to store your little foamies that attach Velcro. You just tuck them in there. There's no Velcro or anything in here. It's just, it just fits in there so nicely that it stays. So when you go to use it, you can just pull it out. And there you go. And then take some ink. And then just ink your edges. And it just gives it a nice finish to it. If you've left your nibs on, any that you haven't cut off, they really tend to stick out now. So I just go around my whole edge inking like that. If you happen to be cutting off a nib and say you cut into your cardstock a little bit, this inking will hide that. If you happen to tear a little piece of your paper, so maybe a little piece of the design starts to come off, then the ink helps to hide that too, because it just makes all your edges uniform and a little more vintage distressed looking. And then once you have that done, it's just a matter of following along with here and putting your pieces together. So like this would go here. We've got some hearts. We've got even some sentiments. I didn't punch them all out, but anyways, you get the idea. I do have, and then what I like to do is not only adhere them together, but I like using those adhesive foam dots so that some are lifted up. These little pieces here, you can get the large ones or the small ones, but it just adds some dimension. You can see how thick those are, and it helps for things to stand up and give you some dimension. So I'm going to show you some of the finished cards. Now all of these, this whole stack, I'm going to put this aside so I don't mix it up. This all came out of this one pad for cards. And we have a visitor. Okay, kitty. And on top of all of these cards and all their embellishments, this is the pieces that I so far have left over. Like I have a whole bag of pieces. And what I like about this set, not only does it make nice cards, but these are all very nature oriented. They're really earth tone. They're quite neutral. So a lot of these embellishments, I can totally use this on other cards, scrapbook pages, because it doesn't necessarily have to match. It's really earth tone, so they'll go with lots of things. But let me show you, and I'll try to lift these up to the camera. This cute little fox. And now this, I didn't use any foam adhesive, so that is all just laying down flat. There's this one here. Now this one I put a little foam adhesive underneath that snowflake, so it just raises that up and gives it some dimension. This one I put quite a few things on the foam adhesive. Just really fun cards. They're quick and you end up with all of these different designs. And these, I didn't use any of my own creativity at all. I just followed the idea that comes right in the paper pad. So you can totally stray from that if you like and add your own. But when you just follow along with them, it makes for some super fast, easy cards. But yet they look really nice. So I hope you give that a try. You can go on to scrapandbean.com and just put in the name Winter Feelings. And as long as we have some of these left, and we have quite a few right now because I ordered in lots, you can get yourself. And on the back, it also gives you a diagram of all the cards that you can make. So I hope you guys have fun with this.